Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, how the classic English literature degree is getting a major 21st century upgrade. We're going to walk through a brand new blueprint that's designed to turn students into graduates who are ready for, well, pretty much anything.
So let's just ask the question straight up. What does a modern English degree actually look like? I mean, forget the old stereotypes of dusty libraries and tweed jackets for a minute. What kind of skills, what knowledge, what kind of journey does a student in a really top-tier program go on today?
Well, the answer comes from a pretty fascinating place. A new set of academic standards from Saudi Arabia's Education and Training Evaluation Commission. You might see it called ETEC. What they did was they looked at the best universities around the world to create an official blueprint for what a truly world-class English degree ought to be.
All right, so every epic journey has to start somewhere, right? Before a student even cracks open a single classic novel, this new curriculum makes sure they have an absolutely essential toolkit for success. So, let's take a look at what's inside.
First things first, a rock-solid command of the English language. We're talking the ability to communicate really complex ideas with total clarity and fluency. And second, digital literacy, knowing how to find, evaluate, and share information online. These two things, they're the twin pillars the entire degree is built on.
Okay, once that foundation is solid, then the real adventure kicks off. It's a journey that sweeps through centuries of stories, powerful ideas, and human history, all seen through the incredible lens of literature.
And this right here, this is basically your map for that journey. Students get to travel all the way from the epic poetry of the Old English period right up to the, fragmented, complex narratives of the postmodern era. It's this incredibly comprehensive tour of how storytelling itself has changed over time.
But, and this is really the key, it's not just about memorizing authors and dates. The whole point is to understand that deep connection between stories and the world around them. Like, how did the Industrial Revolution completely change the Victorian novel? How did the World Wars shape modernist poetry? That's the real exploration here.
Okay, so next up, the journey takes a really interesting turn. It shifts from simply reading the stories to understanding exactly how they work. This is the point where the student transforms into a true scholar, getting all the tools they need for deep, critical analysis.
Now, to really get how this is all put together, you need to know this one term, General Knowledge Unit, or GKU. Just think of these as the mandatory core pillars of study. They're the big ideas that every single student in the program has to master. And when you look at how the curriculum is actually broken down, it's pretty revealing. See that massive 40% chunk? That's the historical journey we were just talking about. But look how it's balanced with a serious focus on modern, practical skills like digital literature, creative production, and even performance. So how do they develop that critical eye? Well, it happens in a few key ways. Students use literary theory to analyze text through all these different lenses. They dive into world literature to get those crucial global perspectives. And they master academic writing and ethics to make sure their arguments are sound and, just as importantly, responsible.
Okay, and now we get to what I think is the most exciting part of this whole thing. This is about taking literature off that dusty shelf and bringing it to life in the 21st century.
The curriculum basically splits into two really cool creative paths. One is all about adaptation, taking a novel and figuring out how to translate it into a film or a play or even a graphic novel. The other is pure creation, using digital tools to make totally new literary experiences, things like podcasts or interactive blogs. And let me be clear, this is not just about writing essays on theory. The program is all about getting your hands dirty. It requires students to actually do stuff. They write, they direct, they adapt, and they create their own performance pieces. So they're learning by doing, not just by studying.
So after this whole journey, from mastering the language all the way to creating brand new media, what's the end result? What you get is a graduate who is armed with a powerful and seriously versatile set of skills.
The whole program is designed around hitting these specific goals called Key Learning Outcomes, or KLOs. And honestly, you can just think of them as the superpowers that a student has earned by the time they graduate.
This entire journey is designed to deliver 9 of these incredible outcomes. We don't have time for all of them, but let's just spotlight a few of the most important ones.
First up, graduates can build and deliver a persuasive argument. It doesn't matter if it's in a research paper or a boardroom meeting. They know how to make a compelling, evidence-based case with clarity and integrity. That's a huge skill.
By studying all this global literature, they develop a really deep sense of cultural awareness. And this is so much more than just an academic skill. right? It's absolutely essential for being a thoughtful global citizen in the kind of interconnected world we all live in.
And this one is huge. The program hammers home a profound commitment to ethics. Graduates walk away understanding just how important intellectual honesty and responsible communication are in absolutely everything they do.
And last but not least, they become creators. They can apply innovative techniques to not just analyze content, but to actually produce their own compelling work across a huge variety of different media.
So, all of this leaves us with one final big idea. A degree like this isn't just about studying stories from the past. It's about giving you the tools, the perspective, and the creativity to shape the stories of the future. So the only real question left is, how will you use them to write your own?